What's up, Get Better Basketball community? I'm Coach DeMarco, and this is Focused. In today's episode, I'm going to take you through my 4 across press breaker that you can use against zone pressure. This is something that I used against everything from a diamond press, a 2-2-1, a 2-1-2, right through a 1-3-1, and actually can be used against man-to-man too, but I'm going to hone in on this press breaker against zone pressure. So, the first type of pressure I'll get into will be the diamond press. But before I talk about that, I just want to take you through the basic movement in this press breaker. So really, really simple. We like to go free throw line area across and even maybe a step back to like the top of the key area. We don't want to start creeping down into the corner because we know that could be a trap spot in pressure defenses. Now I have the players numbered here and I have my 5 here. This you would want to be a taller player on your team if possible. So you could throw, a lot of times there's obviously guards up here and any type of pressure. You might have a guard here and a guard here. So if the guard starts to creep out, you can throw up top to this player still. They can kind of seal them and you can hit them. I've seen teams, or situationally, we've actually put like a point guard here and we got it into them because it opened up some decisions for them. But really, you would want this to be more of a post player. Like this to be a 2, like this to be my point guard. This would be a 4 type player and this would be a 3. We were pretty diverse across the board, and what I mean by that is we have players that could really handle the basketball pretty well. So from 1 to 5, we could handle, against pressure. More so 1, 2, 3, and 4, but our 5 was pretty proficient as well. So we were fortunate in that. But if you don't have that in your team and you have your 1 and your 2 as your primary ball handlers and your 3 as a secondary ball handler, this is a great press break for you as well. So really, really simple. Our 5 would try to seal their player, and we wanted to throw that ball into them, free throw line extended. We're going to get a diagonal cut from our 2 player through the middle, and we obviously could hit them, and they could be off to the races against the pressure. If they're not open, we're going to get a second diagonal cut from our point guard who we would try to hit in the middle, and they could be off to the races. Now, as you're watching this, you'll know it's not always going to work out that way. Teams might prepare for this, so you're going to have some patience. So as that happens, our 1, if they don't get the basketball, would settle into the middle. Our 2 has now cleared down the court, and then our 3 would step in bounds. And, depending on the type of press break we wanted to get into, I'm just going to show you what our 1-3-1 would be. If that wasn't open, we would reverse, and we would look for our 1 coming back through the middle on the other side. And, you have to be patient with it. Sometimes that 1's not going to be open. 3 steps up, you reverse, and then it's the next time through. So we never got into situations with 10-second counts and things like that. It usually was the first time through, the reversal, and then hitting the middle, or maybe a ball fake and our 4 would attack, or reverse to the 3 and they would attack through the middle. So for us, this was pretty sound against pressure if we executed it as I'm showing you right here. So the first thing I want to look at is against a diamond press. So I'm going to put my 1 over here, my 2, and I'll back them up a little bit because we kind of like to do that, start them a little bit deeper and help them that they could take a few steps up and not get caught in the corner. Diamond press, we know there's going to be a player here. We know there's going to be a player here. There's going to be a player here. There's going to be 1 in the middle, and there's going to be a player long. Now, we like the 4 across because in these pressure defenses, you're not going to have 4 defenders across unless it's full court man-to-man. So right here, they're going to have to adjust. I have a video I'll drop in the description down below where I talk, how do you adjust the diamond against 4 across? A lot of coaches say, don't use it. That's great, because if it was a team that liked the diamond press and we were going to get them out of it, advantage us. We would not do that. We would adjust to it. And there's different ways. I'm not going to dive into all of them today, but obviously you can move this player out a little bit. You could bring your middle of the diamond up a little bit and kind of split here. And there's ways to work off of this with your pressure. So most teams don't do that though. They're going to keep their players there And here we go. We're going to go to our 5, and our 2 is now going to come through the middle. Now, if they're a good defensive team, they're not going to try to run and trap this 5. It would be such a tough trap, and it would open up this pass. Or if the middle went, then we'd have our second cut through. And if this player is a step slow, we're gonna hit them, and we're gonna be off to the races. So those are obviously options for us. Let's just say now that our 5 catches it, and they do a great job defensively. Our 2 cuts through the middle, and they're able to kind of take that away with their 2 players. Let's say that our 1 cuts through the middle, and this player kind of settles in here, and our 5 just can't squeeze it in there. So here's what we would do. We would have our 3-step inbounds. They obviously still are in their diamond pressure, so we'll say that those players didn't get the ball, and we'll try to keep the integrity of the diamond as much as possible here. So this player, we would have them then cut through. They don't get the basketball, and we would actually have them go opposite if they didn't get it and settle in on the other side. And the reason we do that is because we like to get into what we would say is a 2-1-2 against this type of pressure. These 2 players might start to creep in a little bit on our 5. We didn't do that. We didn't like to trap in this particular area against the 5. We would kind of let them reverse the ball and then stick with our pressure. But say they start to close in here, we would actually take our 1 and settle them in the middle. We would take our 4 and walk them down, and we would have our 3 here. We would tell our 5, just reverse it back to the 3, and you're then going to work your way down, and you're going to go up the floor. So really simple, 5 to 3. We would go across to the 4. They're all trying to rotate in their diamond pressure. And now if we can get the ball up to the 1 on the cut through the middle, again, you see why I like my point guard here, then we would take that obviously. If we weren't able to, we might have a pass up here. If this player is not able to rotate, might tell our 2 to work back to the basketball a little bit. Our 5 can kind of sneak in on the backside middle. So you can always make that rotation. If you don't get the middle cuts, it's reverse, reverse, middle, or you can start to attack. And I know we don't love the sideline, but they might not have rotated, so it could be a couple of dribbles and a pass up to this player, and we could potentially have a 2-on-1 with those players down the other end of the floor, depending on how they rotate. So we typically would hit the 1 back in the middle, and they would actually attack, and we would have a 3-on-1 on a lot of occasions, or this player might get back, and it might be more of a 3-on-2, but we would get numbers against it. If that didn't work, you're patient. You look to the middle, you can't get it. Their pressure starts to rotate over now. All those players start to rotate. The middle of the diamond is now rotating over. Your 1 is settled in the middle. Your 4 couldn't get the ball to them. They're working. Then it's a pass back. And this player is looking to attack and go middle or attack up the floor. So, and that happens very quickly. I know you think about a 10-second count. It's in. Middle's not there, reverse, reverse, middle, not there, reverse, up the floor. Obviously, some great ball fakes are going to swing that zone defense, which is one of the keys to attacking it. So that's how we would set up against a diamond press. We could get in that against really any zone pressure, but we tried to make it specific to the diamond press. Now, we know not every team is going to use a diamond press, so I'm going to show you another popular press and go to an even front press. That was an odd front with the 1 player at the top, and we know that teams will like to use a 2-2-1 full court press. So again, we're going to put our 1 over here, we're going to have our 2, we're going to have our 5, our 4, and our 3. A little easier, no real ball pressure up here. They may walk this defender up a little bit. I loved when teams would do that. When they're in a 2-2-1, they really want to trap you up in this part of the floor, and they should be more patient. They shouldn't really worry about this, but teams would start to cheat up a little bit, and it really would open up that middle cut. So after we burn them a couple times, we're going to say that this defender is going to stay back and they're going to stay home. So again, we're going to go over here to our 5. This player is going to cut through the middle. They hit them. We look to attack. We fill, and we could have numbers on the other end of the floor with our 1, 2, 3. And depending on how they adjust, if this player gambles, it could be 3-on-3. We could have a 3-on-2 situationally. A lot of times what would happen is this player would think they're going to cheat. We'd hit them, we'd turn and we'd go and we'd have that 3-on-2. So it depends. Could be a 3-on-3 and we just get the ball over and we get into our offense. That 2 doesn't get the basketball. What's the 1 going to do? They're going to cut middle. They typically would be open. Great defensive team. They're able to rotate back with them. They don't let them get the ball. They rotate into the middle. So right now we're going to say those first 2 cuts weren't there. Our 1 player is going to settle now into the middle. We'll say that they've sort of pinched their press back a little bit. And, our 5 has the basketball. Really simple now. Our 3 is just going to step in bounds. Our 2 who made that cut down the floor, they're just going to settle into the middle. And we have a 1, 3, 1 look. Now, you could use this against the diamond press too. You don't have to go back and forth. We game planned. We knew a team was going to give us a 2-2-1. We really wanted to get into a 1-3-1 look. And a lot of times they'd fall back into a 2-3, so it would be really beneficial to us. You could use this against the diamond press. We did some games when teams switched it up on the fly. You're going to be okay because you're still going to have your player in the middle making his middle cuts. You're going to have your wing players here, and you have a player with the ball here. And as they move, if they start to cheat out their wings, you're going to have lanes to kind of get the basketball up the middle. But we're going to focus on the 2-2-1 right now, and we're going to say that ball gets reversed. So 5 doesn't have it anymore. They reverse the basketball. 3 is then going to pass it over to 4. They're going to try to adjust their pressure. They're going to have to be pretty quick to rotate back into the middle. Boom. We hit that point guard in the middle. They turn, they go, they attack. That's not there. Reverse it again, and then look into the middle. So a little bit of patience if you need it, but we typically hit the first or second middle cut, or we reversed it and then hit the middle, and we would attack the pressure. I don't like to say it's broken until we score a basket, but we certainly would get the ball over half court and have some good options and enough time on our shot clock. So those are 2 ways that you can use this full court pressure. This was our primary press breaker, and it's something that I just want to mention lastly, because you say, well, do you have a zone and man press breaker? We did, and they both were 4 across. But we did use this against man-to-man, and I'm going to show you how, because it puts teams in a bind. When you go 4 across, and they have everyone on the ball, and we'll just say they are 4 across. I know they could adjust the person on the ball and put them back here, and we would adjust as needed. But let's say they're full court man-to-man here, and this player sails, and they catch the basketball. We can get it to them. This player, we would typically tell them to take a step up. If this player overplays you, they're really life and death, because you could at any time, if they cheat, turn and go long. And that's always one of the benefits of going 4 across, because you have this end of the floor open. They would take a step up, and if this player denied hard and we hit our 5, they're just going to cut on the diagonal and we would hit them. They would cut on the diagonal. We'd have them as an option. And obviously, we could have our 3 stepping back in bounds. We were fortunate that our 5 was a good ball handler. But you know what? If you don't like that, you could make this your point guard and get the ball into them and make your 5 one of these other players. You can let them inbound as a taller player and then work down the floor. You could put them on the other side, get the ball to your point guard, have your 2 and your 3 make middle cuts and clear out, have everybody clear, and then your point guard could bring it up the floor. So the 4 across press breaker with this middle cut action is great against zone pressure. I just wanted to show you it's not bad against man-to-man, and we did run it situationally against man because teams would switch up their presses, and we just adjusted and we worked on it. We didn't always have to go to our man-to-man press breaker, but a lot of teams were predictable. There was full court man teams, there was zone pressure teams. There wasn't a lot of teams like ours that did both, but I do know that could be a popular thing. Play some man, play some zone pressure. You would be fine with this press breaker in this situation, especially if your 1 and your 2 were pretty good guards. They could work just to get open, get the basketball, and clear everyone out. You could cross them if it's man-to-man, and they could adjust. They know they're man-to-man, high IQ players, varsity level players. Hey, it's man-to-man. Coach yelling, it's man-to-man. They could cross. They could pick for each other. So there's things you could do to adjust. But we love this 4 across press breaker. For us, This was a staple. Each and every year we use this 4 across press breaker against zone pressure, and you see 2 different ways you can set it up. If you like this video, make sure you hit that like button down below, turn on your notifications, and subscribe to Get Better Basketball for more great video breakdowns like the 4 across press breaker. Drop me a comment and let me know what you think.